My name is Stephen Hamilton. I work with the middle school and high school youth here at the church. Beyond the church, I've worked with students for the past 24 years of my life. Ministry, youth ministry that is something I felt called to because of brokenness that I was aware of in my own life. I'm very thankful for my family and my father who took us to church. However, there is a father wound that I have had to heal through. My father, he was a good man, but he had a bit of a temper, and that temper would often cause him to go in these rages. And because of that rage would be acted out on me and my brothers and sisters. I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. On one hand, we would experience things at home, and then we would go to the church, and it would be like a completely different dad. And that caused a couple things in me. It caused a lack of a trust when it came to the church, and it also caused a lack of trust when it came to adults. When I found basketball, I started playing nonstop, and I slept with my basketball. I prayed to God about making me taller, making me to jump higher. My life was basketball, and I was so committed to basketball. I wouldn't go out with girls. I was always training, and my goal was to become a D1 athlete. So I go to Liberty, and that first semester, I was invited to try out for this ministry team called the Sword Dunk Team. And what they did is they jumped off trampolines and dunked basketballs. And then they would travel all over and preach the gospel. My whole time at Liberty University, I was on this ministry team. And because of that dunk team, I came down to West Palm my junior and senior year, and that was my introduction to Urban Youth Impact. I knew that I wanted to help those who were marginalized or just going through harder situations, and it didn't matter what they looked like or where they were from. I just wanted to be someone that could lead them to healing, lead them to Christ. I was here for a couple years, and then ultimately I had to go back to North Carolina. And the reason I went back to North Carolina is because my father hurt his back, and he became addicted to some pain medicines, and that kind of got out of control to the point where he had asked me a number of times to come help him, and I had kept refusing. I finally gave in after he had asked me, and he was just broken in tears, needing me to come home, not only to help him, but to help the church. No matter what I tried to do, and no matter how I tried to help, it wasn't getting any better. The situation was getting worse, no matter how much I fasted and prayed about it. So ultimately, my dad had to leave the church and go into rehab, and went into a hospital for a while. It was at that time that they had asked me to be the interim pastor and stay a little while. As we moved forward after what was a long, dark period the church had, as we moved forward, God started blessing the church more and more, and the numbers started growing. People were getting saved. We were doing baptisms every week. Finances took a turn. In every way, the church was being blessed. And ultimately, I was there for a short amount of period before they asked me to be the lead pastor, in which I did become the lead pastor. A little later on, the church is still going well, but I couldn't shake the feeling I just knew the reason God had me go there, that I had fulfilled what He had asked. And it was hard, but I ended up giving my 4-month resignation. We were starting our life, and my wife and I felt like maybe Wilmington was it. And on that last night at the church, I don't know how, but Chris had found out that I was leaving. Pastor Chris found out, and also Colleen. And so they were trying to get in touch with me and Sharon. Pastor Chris makes an offer for me to come back and work full-time at the church. As this decision was in the back of my head, I was praying about it, and I just felt like confirmation. Felt like Jesus was saying, this was the plan. And so ultimately we came back down here. That was well over 10 years ago. And looking back, it's pretty neat to see how God kind of set all of that up and through my travels and through my years, how God worked everything out to bring me here ultimately, to give me Sharon, and now to have 3 kids of my own. And so here I am, 24 years later, from the time I went to Liberty University, and I have made it my life's mission to work with youth, to try to train them in the way that they should go. So my life verse has always been Job 23:10. He says, "But he knows the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold." I feel like I grew up knowing struggle, knowing what it's like to be in a family who had issues, there were dysfunctions, and what shame tried to do. But I feel like it all gave me an advantage when it was time for me to step into someone else's dysfunction, some other family's shame or struggles. When my brothers and I were younger, we liked harder music. And there was this one band named Stain. They weren't a Christian band, and I wouldn't advise anyone listening to their songs. But they came out with this song. In this song, he talks about how he can't believe he is who he is today. In a way, I think about that song as I'm giving my testimony, because people tell me often about how my kids are thriving and what they see in my family life. I just sit back and I'm so happy, because that was something that I've always wanted, I've prayed for. I want my family to be thriving and full of joy. I remember some of the stuff that I went through, and I'm so glad that they are experiencing life the way they are.